Morning, everyone. I'm very excited. I get to be joined by the Andie Land, one of my favorite creators. I'm in a new location today. I'm visiting family. Yes, you will hear some dogs and some neighbors in the background. There's someone that I saw on TikTok early days, and I just really loved the content they were putting out for the bi community, for the queer community at large, and they just have a really fun sense of humor. They make really fun content, and they just have this really powerful message of inclusivity that I really appreciate and I really enjoy.
Hi!
Hey! I just want to introduce you to everyone. This is the Andie Land. Is that okay to call you?
That's perfect.
Andie Land. And you're just, you're one of my favorite creators because you're always putting out a really cool message and you're so inclusive and you just have like a really wonderfully like sassy sense of humor that can like put people in their place in a good way, if you know what I mean. I really appreciate your content. So I'd love if you could share a little bit of how you got started, some things that inspired you to become a creator and just
Wow, well, thank you so much for that. That means a ton. So, wow, why did I start TikTok? I think like most people, it was just kind of like quarantine, wanting something to do, needing something to stay sane. I think I've always existed on the internet in like some capacity years ago, quite literally like a decade at this point. I did a daily vlog for about 2 years.
Oh, cool.
Please don't go look for it.
I'm going to. I'm absolutely going to look for it.
Yeah, so that was more like family oriented. I was actually pregnant with my daughter, and all of my family lived like in a different state. So I'm like, stop calling me about my pregnancy. Just watch the video, and that's the update. Yeah, and then I just kind of stopped that for a lot of reasons. It just ran its course, and then 2020 happened, and I had so many friends that were like, get this TikTok thing, get this TikTok. Like you would have so much fun with it. I'm like, ugh, another app. Does my phone have the storage space for that? Like a whole other thing. Really, it's so crazy how it happened because I was just trying to be silly. And then there was this whole community of people who were like, you get it. And one thing just kind of led to another. It's wild.
Well, I know like your videos for me, like they'll brighten my day and like they really like provide this really welcoming space like on TikTok and elsewhere. How is it for you as a creator in terms of just being online and putting yourself out there as a queer person in terms of biphobic comments and that in the space?
I will say, I feel like I've gotten pretty lucky for the most part. I feel like the algorithm is doing exactly what it needs to do, and I'm gonna knock on everything that I see currently because I do feel as though I've been pretty lucky in terms of not really having anything super crazy, and for the most part, if I have personally received biphobic comments, it's usually people who are just ignorant. Ignorant isn't necessarily a bad word; it just is what it means. I always try and lead with love and ask and educate, and I think that's the best way to go about doing anything. If not, that block and delete button is so strong.
So strong.
Yeah.
It's so powerful.
Sure is. My God. I can't imagine. I know that some people have just like, God, had a really rough time about it. I think the other thing is I'm pretty authentic with what I say. For me, the way that I approach things is if you're authentic, if you say it and you're about it, then like, what can you say? Like what is there to say? This is what it is. Like, be mad. I don't know. I don't know. I've always had a pretty thick skin, so it's just like water off a duck's back. It is what it is. Not everybody's going to get it, but I'm not for everybody, and that's okay too.
I love that. That's wonderful. I would love to have more of that. You inspire me. Thank you.
You can have some of mine. It's fine.
As a creator, I know there can be a lot of pressure to be putting out content all the time. Have you felt that? Because I've heard this from other creators as well. It's just like, oh gosh, how do you take time for yourself and kind of avoid burning out?
Oh yeah, absolutely. My God, I am a disappear when I get depressed kind of girl. I think for me, I've always approached it as a hobby and something that I do for fun. And I'm this way about really everything in my life is if it's not serving me anymore, or if I'm not having fun, then maybe it's time to put it up on a shelf for a little bit. For the first maybe year and a half that I was on TikTok, I was like, 3 videos a day. Let's pumping them out, just pumping them out. And that was what I was doing. And it was really great. And then I started my small business. I had a lot of just family things that were going on. And so I think just giving myself a little bit of grace to go, it's okay. It will still be there. You know, I think building that community is super important because they'll be there when you get back. Sometimes it's important, especially mental health wise, just take the break because if you burn out, then it really is not fun. It really is not fun. I don't believe in, like I said, just doing things. If it's not fun, then there's no point in doing it. So just keeping it fun, allowing the pauses when it's necessary, but always being able to come back. You have to allow yourself the space for that.
And no one wants to be making videos when they're burnt out and tired and feeling like they
No, absolutely not, because then your audience feels it. Like they can tell. They can tell. I think the second that there's even a whiff of like, oh, you're not having fun with this, that's inauthentic. You don't mean this. You don't want to be here. Like they feel that. And I would rather like quality over quantity, you know? And then it just feeds into like, oh, this, nobody saw this. I wonder why. And then I'm like, oh, well, now I feel worse.
Yeah, and then you think you have to make more videos.
Exactly.
I would love if you could share more about your small business and if that is the candle making that I've seen in some of your videos, which is so cool. Did you study candle making? Did you just get into it?
I've been doing it for 5-6 years at this point. It really just kind of started as like a form of therapy when I was, when I had just had my children. They were really little and I needed a craft. I've always been very crafty. I'm like jack of all trades. I do it all. When they were little, I needed something that I could walk away from. It's not like crocheting where you have to like sit there for a while. So, you know, put wax to melt and then go change a diaper or whatever it was that needed to be done. It actually was really with my TikTok that I kind of started. That's how it was an accident. I made and in fact, I have a candle. I called it Alphabet Mafia. That was when that went kind of viral on TikTok. Everybody was like the Alphabet Mafia. And I had made a fragrance that smelled like Fruit Loops, like straight up Fruit Loops. I talk to my Instagram stories a ton, like it's my like daily diary. And I was like, dang, it smells like straight up Fruit Loops. I should call this Alphabet Mafia and put it out as a candle. It really kind of started as a joke and then snowballed into a charity thing as a fundraiser for the Trevor Project. It just kind of went on from there. It's so funny. I know it's not funny to say it started as a joke and now this is my business, but that really is how that happened.
I think that's how it happens a lot.
It's very therapeutic. I like anybody who has like, if you have no patience, I think it's a beautiful practice in patience because you really just have to wait for like time and temperature. It's not necessarily hard once you figure it out. But it is just like a lot of time and temperature and waiting and trial and error. And yeah, I'm trying to get my husband in on that. I'm like, all right, bro, let's work on this patience thing. Let's go make some candles.
Oh, yeah. Just gonna be calm.
Exactly.
Well, speaking about your husband, you've been so powerful in the bi community on TikTok because you're so open, I think, about being like a married person who came out after getting married. And I think so many people relate to that online and just like, I mean, I'm not married or anything, but I was just like, that's like something you don't hear enough on TikTok. I think there's a lot of bias about like, oh, I got to talk about being attracted to women so that the queer community accepts me. And it's almost like this having to prove that you're bi enough, you're queer enough by like constantly talking about women and your attraction to women. Have you seen that as well? And like, how is that kind of interacted with your content?
I will say, I think it was always important to me from the very beginning when what was my first bi video? My God. It was something along the lines of like, I like women and then I date men because I like to make bad choices. So it was just kind of like a ha-ha. But I remember telling my husband, I'm like, if I'm going to do this, I don't want it to be a thing where people find out that I'm married down the line and then it turns into like a thing, like you were hiding it. It's like, this is just who I am. Again, that authenticity, it's really important. I think that's where my little specific niche is because nobody really talks about it and they don't talk about it in terms of like, it's okay. These are normal feelings. I really did just kind of stumble into that just because that's how it happened as far as I think interaction and whatnot, I do think there is a little bit of like, oh, well, it's more okay for me to flirt with you because you are also bi and like you are also married and my husband's not going to care, which is a little problematic in its own self. But like I said, I think for the most part, I've really just gotten super, super lucky. And I think just being really open and honest about a lot of things is the reason for that for now. Knocking on wood again.
Yeah. Oh, I think it really, like, your content really shines because it is so authentic. It's like you're seeing a friend and they're just telling you like something funny that happened in their day. Or
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think your profile said Texas.
Mm-hmm.
What is the queer community like in your area? Do you have like events and places to go?
I have been fortunate enough to find a little queer community. I will say it took a while. It's just very traditional Hispanic, Latino. And so for a lot of people, there is a lot of like shame and just not being as out. I was actually reached out to through an event company here that I do candle making classes with, and we do them like every month, and they're like different themes. Their whole business is just creating a safe space for queer individuals. They have bar meets shopping meets patio. It's like a whole all one and all deal.
Okay.
But they're really great. They are gays that love a party, so they're constantly doing a theme. And I think there could be more. I will say since moving here, maybe 4 or 5 years ago at this point, it's definitely I've seen more. We have our first drag bar, which is super cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are little queer pockets. You just got to find them. I mean, if anybody finds anything through me, then that's even better. That is so special.
What advice would you have for someone living in a town where they haven't found those queer pockets, or maybe they don't exist?
The internet is a wonderful place. I know it can be super hard, and I know that like coming out in general is super scary, and it's like you have to do what you have to do to protect yourself. If I'm honest, it was just super lonely. It was super lonely. I think this past year was actually the first year that I noticed a big like pride. Like we did a pride. That was a big deal. Oh my gosh, just keep looking. Keep looking, honestly, because it's there. It's there. It exists. You might not know it, and that's probably for safety, really, right? God, there's no way that you're the only gay in that town. Like, there's no way. There is no way. And sometimes people just don't know. People just don't know, right? There's so many people that I have met that they're like, wait, you're bi? Oh my God, me too. And then, you spread the word when you can. But until then, God, the internet can be such a beautiful place if you find the right people. And that's why I think the kind of content that I make, or even the kind of content that you make, it's just important. It's important. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's, you're trying to get attention or whatever. And it's like, not really. I think there are those who have slightly tougher skin. Somebody left a comment on one of my videos the other day, and they were saying thank you because they're super shy. But since seeing creators like me being so outgoing and vocal, they have just like a little more strength to walk in their own journey, and that's super special. And so for that reason, I don't know if it's a real answer or not, but I think the internet can be a beautiful place, and really just hashtags are so useful.
Yeah.
Hashtags are so useful because there's so many things that you just never know exist until you do.
It's one thing to see like a really inspirational video that you've made, and then to go see the comments and see all the support and this all like, oh, I've had that experience. I feel the same way.
Thank you so much. It's been a really interesting journey. I maybe took a little bit of a break for like the past 6 months or so, just very sporadic, but it is, I feel it. I'm ramping up to get right back into it and hit the ground running. Gotta take a break.
I just have one more question for you. And thank you so much for your time today and just sharing.
Of course. Oh my gosh, are you kidding? I was like, really? Me? You wanna do this with me? Okay.
Yeah, oh my gosh. There's so much content out there. There's so many videos. But it just like very genuinely comes across as like, oh, this is someone like I can be friends with. This is someone who's there for everyone,
Absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
Doing their thing. Anyways, my last question, because I'm a songwriter. That's my thing. I'm a bisexual songwriter. And I've seen some of your videos, and you can sing.
Oh, yeah. I moonlight as a singer as well.
Yeah. So I just wanted to ask about that a little bit.
So it's actually really interesting. I laugh about this because considering the content that I make. I actually grew up like super religious. We grew up singing in church. Like if you didn't sing, you didn't eat. My grandparents would have us like get up on Sundays like the Partridge Family, and we all learned a song and harmonies. So music has always been in my family. Everybody plays an instrument or you sing. I personally play the guitar. And if you are familiar with like Mexican mariachi music, there's a vihuela. It's called a vihuela. It's kind of like a guitar minus your top E string and an octave higher. I've grown up singing my whole life. And then I think it was 14, I actually joined the mariachi class at my high school. I went to a performing arts high school, worked and gigged and did that, I guess, professionally for about 10 years. Yeah, I was actually scouted by Disney to go sing on their cruise ships when I was 18. And then I found out 2 weeks later that I was pregnant. So that didn't work out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, now you sing all the Disney songs to your kiddos, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just kind of one of those things that like I grew up doing, and so it's just for funsies, but I might. I've been toying with the idea of maybe starting another TikTok page of like singing in Spanish specifically because I don't speak Spanish, and I would like to learn that. And so I think that would be like a fun project, like accountability projects going into the new year for me to just kind of force myself to learn after all these years.
Oh, absolutely. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let us know if you do so we can all go
Absolutely.
follow.
My goodness.
I would love to see you sing more. I saw your first video. I was just like, wait, hold on. You know, like I want to see more of this.
Yeah. Mostly it's
very
just
talented.
for funsies. Thank you. You are amazing. My God. Are you kidding me?
No. But we'll have to do a bye song together.
That would be amazing. Honestly, I'm down. Hit my line.
Yeah, let's do it. Thank you so much, Andie, for just like sharing your story with us. You're just a joy to the bi community. So thank you so much for everything you do.
Thank you. And thank you for doing this and just creating a platform for everybody and a little safe space. And your hair is amazing. I miss my red hair so much. Thank you so much. You as well. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Thanks for being here.